Do you guys like basketball more than football? Is the premise for this third segment. You think I would get it right? Because I plan to release this 10-minute segment as its own video. So let's try this again. 28-26. All right. So do you guys like West Virginia football or basketball more these days? Because the more and more I look on my timeline, and let's see if I can just find it. I'm pretty sure there's some. So I think this is the thread here. So, there's a lot of different variations of why people think this is. So, he said, I think it's because Rod has a full roster already. Hodge is barely making his starting five at the moment. Anticipation is more so than football, who already has 90 guys. Some people are saying that they think that football may struggle this year and that basketball is closer to competing. I think people need to see that to believe at this point. What's talking about Rich Rod got hyped up every year the last 3-4 years, thinking we're going to take a huge jump under Neal Brown, obviously, to have one good year. And you know what? I think that we can't underestimate that. Now, Brad, the fake real Brad Howe doesn't agree. And here's another person that says you can thank Neal for that. I think it's an interesting question because we are a football school, right? But like the ghost of Neal Brown says here, it's a multi-pronged issue. Neal Brown era left a bad taste in the mouths of fans, and a realistic expectation this season is 6-7 wins, and I think a lot of fans know it. Basketball is maybe 1 to 3 players from being a competitor. Football is further behind, thanks Neal. So I think that's an interesting topic of discussion. Did his era ruin the confidence of West Virginia fans? Because before Neal Brown, we'd had a lot of success, including the Dana Holgorsen era. I don't think, obviously, we were going to drop off from the Rich Rod era, no matter who our coach was, maybe outside of Nick Saban or somebody, or Jimbo Fisher, maybe, at that point in time when he was really good. But we were always going to have a drop off, right? Losing Rich Rod. But, and what Holgorsen did was very good. I mean, compared to Neal Brown, we were in Big 12 contention. We were in games to the last series against teams like Oklahoma a lot. We had some teams like the one where we beat Texas, where we were right there in the race. Obviously, we had the Tavon Austin years right there in the middle of all that, so that helped a lot. We had Geno, which was an elite quarterback, which the last time we had a guy as good as Will Grier Geno. We've been expecting this to be the case, and I don't even know if this year we've got that guy, like to that level. I think Nico and Jalen could both be good, but can they be like, you can make an argument for Will Grier or Geno at any point in time to be the best quarterback in the league for at least, or at least top 2, right? I mean, obviously, during Will Grier's era, there was that quarterback in Oklahoma that was just really damn good. But outside of that, I mean, there were times when Geno was definitely the best quarterback in the Big East. But when we got to the Big 12 that year, I mean, he was just what he did against Baylor and all that was insanity. I just think that, we had good years under those guys. And then Neal Brown comes to town, and it's a steady drop to mediocrity and nothing better. Literally nothing. 1 9-win season against the weakest schedule we've had, right? And almost none of us wanted to believe that this was the drop-off, right? Almost none of us wanted to believe that 9-win year was a fluke. Almost none of us wanted to believe that the schedule was just that easy, when in reality it was. I think we wasted 2 of the best offensive line, 3, maybe 4. Am I missing somebody? Zach Frazier, Doug Nestor, Wyatt Milam, just West Virginia kids. Robbie Martin, obviously, if we could have got him at the time, but I think we wasted the best offensive line we may ever have at West Virginia. I think if you give those guys to Rich Rod and let him work with them, the production is going to be way better. A lot of that has to do with how slow Neal Brown ran the offense. But I think it also has to do with I had big problems with Neal Brown as far as his roster management and the way he approached things. Like one of my biggest complaints with him was I think there were players that deserved to play that didn't get to play because they weren't great practice players. And there is something to say for great practice players earning their keep. I'm 100% with that. But there are some guys that are gamers, and Neal Brown never wanted to believe that. He always believed you practice great, you play great. And that is also true. But there are guys that play better when the lights are on. Allen Iverson, Randy Moss. Like there are guys that just can't turn it all the way on for practice, you know, especially going up against the same guy that knows what you're doing every day. So the Neal Brown era obviously was a crushing blow to us. It's literally the worst thing that could have happened outside of, you know, not being not bowl eligible. But honestly, I don't think the overall impact would have been much worse than it is based on where we were coming from. Like we were coming from where Oregon is right now, or where, you know, maybe Oregon's a little bit too high up, but where SMU was last year, right? Or, you know, think of a team like that, you know, like a team that's in playoff contention. You feel like you got a chance to make it every year, like BYU is going to be this upcoming year. We lost that, and we lost it for 6 years, over half a decade. You know, so I just think the toll of that, mixed with the newness of the basketball team, the Trace and Eagle staff, you know, I think we spent a lot more money than a lot of people thought we were going to spend. And then, you know, there's been a lot of movement on the football side. So it's a fascinating conversation. Let me know in the comments below. Are you more excited for basketball than football, or do you just like basketball more now because Neal Brown ruined it for you, or is there another reason? I would love to know the answer to that. Thank you guys for joining the episode. Hope you have a great day. I'll be back hopefully this evening with Jalen Knighton. Not 100% sure when he's going to come on. We've got some things in the works that have to happen first, but I'm here. So I will see you guys here later on. I don't have a lot else to talk about, but 2 big commitments for West Virginia. Definitely one. We'll see you on the other. Thanks for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen, guys, and for being part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where we talk about your team every single day. Do me a favor, guys. Check out the portal. That's a big one over at Locked On, the portal, guys. They do a great job over there. And Brian Smith has the latest rumors on portal entries and signings. Be the most informed fan on the rapid changes of the college football landscape. Find the portal report on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Big signings today. Had a lot of time. Had a lot of fun teasing this the last 24 hours and all that. So I'll see you guys later on. Hopefully, if you see a video come up later that's not a commitment video, you'll know what it is. Make sure you're here for it, and I'll see you then. I'm out of here.